Hey everyone, it's John Willis. Oh, wait, hold on. Hi everyone. I'm an atheist, and I suffer from unyielding despair. Okay, now, having that out of the way, I'm a little late to this video. It was done in 2009, but Religion Free Deist pointed me to it through subscriptions, and he did a good job of defending deism against this guy's lines of reasoning, and now I want to do the same for atheism.
The first is atheism. Theos, God. A, not. So atheism is that there is no God. There is no God.
Now, it would be more appropriate to say that atheists fall into several different camps. I consider myself an agnostic atheist. That is, I don't claim to have certain knowledge that there are no gods. But I have no compelling reason or sufficient evidence to suggest that there is a God or that one should be worshipped. That's kind of along the lines of a weak atheist. A strong atheist, which I believe you are directing your comments more toward, would be one that says, I am sure, I am certain that there is no God, or there are no gods. So there is a distinction to be made.
Now, if that is the case, then this life is all we've got. There's no God who made us. There's no God who knows us. There's no God who's come for us. There's no God to comfort us. And when we die, there's no God to greet us. Just this life.
I don't disagree with that, because there's no reason to believe that we were alive before we were born. There's no reason to believe that we're going to be alive after we die. And if there is no reason to believe that there's any kind of life after death, then there's no reason to believe that there's any kind of God that's involved in our lives either before we were born, while we were alive, or after we're dead. So this life could be all that we have, and in that case it makes this life all the more precious. So let's get on to some of your other points.
Philosophically, if worked out to its logical conclusion, this is a horrific way to live your life.
Now, obviously, I'm going to disagree with you here. You are saying that philosophically, if you extrapolate this view of there not being a God, which, and let's make this clear, that atheism is simply a statement about the existence or non-existence, or the belief or non-belief in a God, that this is a horrendous way to live your life. Now, what exactly does that mean? I've already said that knowing that you only have one life and that you don't get a second shot at it makes this one life more precious. It makes you want to try harder. It makes you want to achieve more. It makes you want to do everything that you can in this life for the benefit of you and those around you while you still have the time. Now, you're going to quote Bertrand Russell, and you've picked a very, very long quote. It's got a lot of words, seems kind of esoteric, but it includes the term unyielding despair. And you immediately latch on to that he said unyielding despair.
Here's what he's saying. There is no God. You come from nowhere and no one.
I came from my parents.
You're here for no purpose. If you are hurting or suffering, there is no one to help you or rescue you or comfort you.
When I'm hurting or I'm sad or I'm troubled or I'm having problems, my friends and my family are always there for me, and they're not invisible and they're tangible and they can actually do something.
And when you die, there is nothing awaiting you.
Okay, all the more reason to make this life count, right?
What he's saying is this is the scaffolding for life. And the foundation, he says, is, quote, unyielding despair.
And that would be Russell's opinion. And if that is the case, and if you are willing to accept that, then it's not too hard to see why people have dreamed up gods and created religions in order to cope with that insecurity.
Richard Dawkins, a more modern-day atheist,
but not a modern-day prophet,
was asked the question, doesn't your worldview lead you to be depressed? Here's what he said. I don't feel depressed about it, but if somebody does, that's their problem.
And indeed it is. Depression would be a psychological condition in an individual that is personal to them. It would be their problem by definition. So I don't know exactly what you expect Richard Dawkins to do about somebody's depression, but you have it from his mouth right there. Yes, he is an atheist. No, he is not depressed. Moving on.
The universe is bleak, cold, and empty, but so what?
So what indeed? Have you seen the universe? It's bleak, and it's cold, and it's empty. We live on Earth, tiny little itty-bitty, teensy-weensy planet in the middle of this gigantic ocean of unfathomable proportions. And you're going to call him out on this as saying that the universe being bleak, cold, and empty is somehow inaccurate, or is a sign of what, his depression, or the depression that you can extrapolate out to everybody that adopts an atheist philosophy?
Might makes right. Only the fittest survive. If you are losing, it's because you're a loser.
And if you are lying, it's because you're a liar. Nowhere did Richard Dawkins say, might makes right. Survival of the fittest, as you want to define it. This is not the atheist philosophy. If you want to start associating atheism with evolution, then you are making an extreme fallacy, because atheism, as I've already said, is only a statement on the belief or non-belief in a God.
You ever wonder why atheists don't have great songs?
Here, let me try a baseless, subjective assertion of my own. Have you ever wondered why Christian music is so cheesy? Do you see the fallacy that you're committing there? Do you see the faulty logic you're using? What you might not consider great, somebody else might. I happen to like a lot of music that is secular and or atheist, but it's my opinion and my opinion only. I'm not going to force that on you like you're trying to force it onto other people in jest here.
Here's where you end up going with this ideology. Depression. That's why the number one category of prescription medications is antidepressants.
And when you take into account the fact that the majority of this country profess a Christian faith, who do you think is being prescribed those medications?
Not saying that all medication is a sin, but a lot of medication is a functional savior.
As compared to a dysfunctional, invisible savior.
It also leads to self-medication, drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, shopping, violence, entertainment, a consumption culture.
Shopping? Really? Okay. Have you looked at what you're wearing? Nice designer jeans, nice designer shirt, little cool necklace you got going on there, good hairstyle. You're not apart from this world. You're completely of this world. So what does shopping have to do with it? What does sex have to do with the despair in life? People have sex because they enjoy it or because they're wanting to have kids. You can't say that they're self-medicating with sex. And the fact that there are drug addicts, alcoholics, homosexuals, if you want to go there, people in massive, massive debt in this country who profess a Christian faith, again, are not upholding the example that you're giving.
Thirdly, it results in suicide.
Every single atheist that I have ever known in my life has committed suicide. Honestly, are you even listening to yourself? Thirdly, however you want to make that, it does not result in suicide. Atheism is just a statement of belief or lack of belief in a God. And you are not getting this.
Prayed for a gal just an hour ago, bawling. She said, that's what I believe, and I was going to kill myself. What do I do?
I'm sure you did, and I'm sure she did. And by sure, I mean probably not. Because this analogy is going to work really well on people who are wanting to know that their beliefs are going to save them from being this depressed person wallowing in despair and just wanting to end their lives. Well, I've got news for you. The typical atheist doesn't have any difference in their life than you do, aside from the lack of belief in God. They play, they love, they laugh, they enjoy life. They don't want to die any more than you do. They just don't believe in a God.
That's why teen suicide rates are up and girls cut themselves in junior high. That's why.
That's why? Really? Well, then we should be able to just save everybody from any depressed thoughts or thoughts of suicide just by telling them about Jesus. But then, how do you account for the Christians who commit suicide?
It's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was just about to say.
It's not hope for their life. It's certainty of their death.
There is but one certainty in life, and that is that you are going to die. So, how you accept that fact determines how you're going to live your life and how much enjoyment you're going to get out of that life. If I don't think as much of this life because all I'm really looking forward to is eternity with God in heaven, then what possible purpose do I have for being good or for achieving more or for being better to people in this life while I'm alive? I don't. All I'm really looking forward to is my reward after I die. So if I don't believe in an afterlife, I'm going to make the most of this life. There is hope for this life. And my legacy, whatever I make of it, is going to live on through my kids or through my achievements or through the knowledge that I can impart into the collective human knowledge bank. So I'm going to do everything that I can to ensure that I've contributed in this life so that the next and the next and the next and the next generation can benefit from how I lived this life and not the reward that I'm going to get because I professed belief in some enigmatic deity up in heaven that I've never seen, can't hear, and hasn't intervened on my behalf through my entire existence.